This is the drive home with TT for the Millwall drive home. Driving home from the den where it finished. Millwall under-23s 4, Coventry under-23s 1. You can't argue and you can't complain when you go and see a Millwall team score 4 goals, no matter what level it is at. And not only did we score 4 goals today, we played some really excellent football. You know, stuff you want to see from a Millwall side in terms of hard work and endeavour, but more importantly than that, the attacking threat and the attacking ability, as well as the composure on the ball by a lot of our players, really does bode well for the future, and just shows that regardless of whether these players make it at the senior level, that the club is in good stead in terms of how we're trying to play football all the way through our age groups. Let's make no doubt about it, the Coventry side we played today were top of the table. You know, we play in the Professional Development League that is split into the north and south, and Coventry have come in unbeaten after 5 games, winning 4 and drawing 1 of them, and only conceding 5 goals from those 5 games. So it just shows you to score 4 goals at any level is good going, and against the side where, you know, Coventry have got some decent players. I would question some of their players, you know, their attitude. You know, a few of them had a bad attitude. Their head went down. You know, were complaining about a lot, and I think that stems from the manager. You know, the manager's on the sidelines moaning, and that does feed through to his players. And I felt like his players got caught up a little bit in moaning about too much, and it doesn't help. You know, once you concede 1 goal and another one quickly afterwards, and you don't get your heads right, I think they suffered from that. I'll go through the team and then explain the goals as well, and obviously try and rate them as best as I can. Some I won't remember their first name, and I can only apologise for that. But obviously I can't remember my name sometimes, so remembering people's first and second name, I'll try and do my best. But we started with Luke Steele in goal, who I felt had a really solid performance, and you know, the experience that he brought to the team I think helped today. We didn't have to do much in the first half. Second half made some decent saves. You know, reacted quickly a couple of times and done what he needed to do, and he marshalled the back 4 really well. Overall, you know, it's comfortable to say he's got, you know, a 7 out of 10 performance. He did what he needed to do and marshalled the defence really well. We'll move on to the right back, and I'm not sure his first, I think it's Dan, but it's Moss's surname. Had a solid overall performance. You know, we've got Danny McNamara that's out on loan, and I honestly think that Danny will come back and push his way into the first team. You know, put a lot of pressure on Marlon, because I rate Danny McNamara really highly, and from what I've seen at Newport, you know, with highlights and watching a couple of their games, he's really impressed me being out on loan, and I think he will come back. But Moss today done what he needed to do. You know, we've got two kind of wing backs in a back 4, and Junior on the other side as left back pushed forward quite a lot, which meant that you can't afford for both to go, and he held his position really well. He had a tough Coventry striker up against him who put it about a little bit, and you know, Moss didn't shrug under that. The only issue that he did have throughout the game is he's given away the penalty, and that's a little bit of, you know, inexperience to try and win a ball that he didn't potentially need to win, but it's brought upon because the Coventry striker's miscontrolled it. He's knocked it too far in front of him, and you know, they've kind of collided. One thing for definite is that it's outside the box, and it should have been a free kick, not a penalty, but the penalty was given and allowed them to get a goal back into it, and that's the only thing Moss really done wrong in the game. I felt he held his own really well, so I'll give him a 7 out of 10. We had Strachan and Topaloy in the middle of the park. Both of them, you know, like I said, Coventry had a lot of movement, had a lot of quick play, but I felt defensively they held their position, held the shape well. There was some good communication. They were able to, you know, tell the wing backs, normally Junior actually, to get back in, to make it a back 4 and be more secure. But I liked the fact that they were able to have the ball and play out from the back. You know, there wasn't too much direct play from them. They were able to put their head down or put their head up and look for a pass and play out. They bottled up the strikers pretty much, even though they were trying to run at them. You know, they held firm. and I was pretty happy with both of their performances, to be honest. I'm not sure how far they will go, and at the moment they're definitely playing at the right level for them too. But solid performance from both of them, and I'll give them both a 7. We then move to the left back, Junior Tienza, who, you know, Zach, who's obviously at school today, but Zach absolutely loves him from what he's seen in pre-season. He loves the pace of him, and to be honest, I really like his. I don't know. There's something about him that I like. I like his character. I like his determination. But today was by far my man of the match. I thought he was excellent. You know, not just his pace, not just his ability to run on the ball and be direct, but I thought defensively he done what he needed to do. He was never caught out of position in terms of he was attempting to get back. Only once did I see him, you know, not switch on a little bit, but he obviously his pace got him back in. But attacking wise today, you know, he was absolutely superb. 2 goals created from him. Both of them, he's literally hugging the touchline. He gets the ball for the first goal. He just about keeps it in, runs past the defender cleverly. And this is what you'd say about quick players. Is far too often there's no end product. Well, Junior had that today in absolute bundles. Looks up on the edge of the box, finds Duncan, who kind of mishits his shot. It was definitely a mishit shot. It was not a cross, as I heard some people say. And then George Alexander's at the back post and tucks it in for 1-0. And then for the third goal, Junior again being direct down the wing, cuts it back again. You know, he's not just played aimless balls into the box. He's looked up, picked out George Alexander, who's made an excellent run. There's no doubt about it. Got in front of his defender and a great header from him into the bottom right-hand corner, and that made it 3-0 at the time. And in that, there was about an 18-minute period where at any time I've seen any Millwall team, we looked so dangerous attacking, you know, and that stemmed from the fact that they were absolutely bricking themselves at Junior's pace, and he had them literally on strings, and it was really exciting to watch. And whether Junior, I'll give him a rating out of 10 for today, and it was comfortably a 9. Whether he can, at the moment, he's ready for the first team, probably not, but hopefully he keeps developing the way he did today and eventually breaks into the first team, because, you know, I really rate him highly. Right midfield, and we had Tyler Burey, who I felt, you know, I've seen him a few times, and what he did, he'd done well. He was, what I like, he constantly tries to run at defenders, and you can ask, that's what you want from your wingers. If you're playing in a 4-4-2, you've got to attack with pace. You've got to attack quickly, because normally your central midfielders get missed out of the game. But the one thing I'd say about Tyler today is far too often he didn't release the pass when I felt he should have done. He was, like I said, a little bit too much of a bingo dribbler. You know, my little Alfie, who plays for my under 9 Lions, has the same thing, that, you know, can beat a player and you think just release the ball. Alfie's got better at it, I've got to be honest, and I felt I was a little bit disappointed that Tyler didn't do that enough and got caught in possession too often. It created chances for the rest of the team and was an outlet, and that's what you like to see. So I'll give Tyler, it's probably a little bit harsh, but I'll give him a 6. And then we'll move on to the other left midfielder, and it was Jaden Davis. I believe it was Jaden. I think it's Jaden. And again, very direct, running at players. You know, he's done really well for the second goal, where we've had a short corner. He's come to pick it up. You know, Billy Mitchell, intelligent play from Billy, comes and gives the defender who's come out to get Davis. He's giving him an idea. He's like, is he going to... He's put him in two minds anyway, which enables Jaden to do a little skill, drops his shoulder, gets to the touchline, he's beaten defender, he cuts in then to the box, makes himself a little bit of room, creates a little bit of space, and then absolutely rifles the ball into the top of the net for an excellent second goal to put us 2-0 up at that stage. And what I liked from that is, like, it lifted the team, it lifted him individually. You could see that took his game on a little bit. And I thought that both Bury and Davis tracked back today. I don't know whether that's something that they always do, because wingers don't always do that, but I thought that the work rate, certainly second half, you know, first half we was all attack, and second half we still tried to attack and we still tried to catch them on the break, but we certainly tucked in a little bit more, worked really hard, and like I said, that's what you want from a Mill side. But I thought Davis' overall performance earned him a 7. Again, both Bury and Davis I don't think are quite ready for, well, they're not ready for the first team, but I was impressed with the performance nonetheless. We move into the centre of the park, where we had Billy Mitchell and Sam Skeffington. Now, both of them I felt put in assured performances. I would say that for different reasons, really. Sam obviously scored an absolute wonder of a goal. You know, he's picked it up to make it 4-0. He's picked it up a loose ball because of the pressure that we've done, you know, pressing really high, putting those Coventry players under, and they made mistakes at the back because of that. Although, don't get me wrong, they played out from the back really nicely, Coventry, at times. The pressure's always going to count sometimes, and if you can turn the ball over, which we did. Skeffington's picked the ball up from about 45 yards. He's had a good touch in front of him, and he's absolutely rifled the ball from 30 yards out. The keeper's a little bit suspect, I've got to be honest. I don't think Steele would have made the mistake that their keeper did, but you hit the target from that distance with that power, and it's a good goal from Sam Skeffington. And I felt that, you know, he looked to run on the ball. He looked to play the ball around. I don't think defensively he was as good as his partner in the centre of midfield. But you can ask no more from a midfielder to get involved in the goals, to try and link the play. And I like the fact that both Sam and Billy showed for the ball. I'll give Sam a 7, and I'll move on to Billy Mitchell, who I've mentioned Billy a few times, and every time I've seen him, I love the fact that he just looks so composed on the ball. You know, he has the ability to, he never seems to make the wrong pass, and that is, you know, don't get me wrong, he'll make mistakes, but it's always the right idea. You can always see that he makes the right choice, doesn't always execute it, and probably I don't know whether he'll say it or whether he won't say it, but you know, I feel like he probably will be a bit frustrated with the performance. He's picked up a yellow card for leaving one on the Coventry number 9, bringing him down. Probably didn't have to do that. And then, you know, he's made a couple of niggly fouls after that. You know, and we're talking, if you're playing in the Championship, which he will do, I have no doubt about. You know, you've got to be careful making those kind of challenges, because there's every chance that you're going to end up, you know, picking up a second yellow, and you don't want that. But what Billy does so well, like I said, he shows for the ball. He has the ability to run on it and link the play between front to back, from back to front, and he's tenacious. He's just got, I don't know, it's just, there's something about him. He's, you know, obviously we've got Ben Thompson in our first team at the moment, who is a lot more direct than Billy, but Billy just has the ability to be able to put his foot on the ball and control a game, and I felt he'd done that really well today. You know, Billy controlled that game today, and you can ask no more from his centre midfielder, breaking up play when he gets to the back, but he's box to box. You know, he's able to be on the edge of their box, trying to and going wide if he needs to go wide. So I was really happy with Mitchell's performance, and saying that, I don't think it was his best one. I've seen him play better, which just shows you how exciting he is and how excited I am for his future. So I'll give Billy Mitchell, I'm going to give him an 8, just because of how composed he was, and it kind of killed the game in the second half. And then we'll move on to the front two in Duncan and Georgie Alexander. Now, I'll speak about Duncan first. He put himself about today. You know, he's big fella. He's, you know, a typical kind of number 10. Obviously, he's not filled out completely. He's got to grow, but you could see that he was putting himself about. You know, he linked the play reasonably well. He held the ball up when he could, and tried to bring the rest of the team into it. It was hard to rate him today, because a lot of the time he wasn't involved. But what he did, I felt like he done effectively, and created the space for Alexander to run in behind. You know, Duncan coming short a lot of the time meant that Billy could then run in. George could run in behind. So I'll give Duncan a 7. And that's more for being for doing a number 10 role really well, because I felt like, you know, he didn't really look like scoring in the game. didn't really have any chances, but he did link the play well, and obviously he assisted the first goal, even though he didn't really mean it. And then we'll move on to George Alexander, who played up front with him. And obviously most of you will have heard about George Alexander. He's Gary's boy, and at the moment he hasn't got the physique of his dad, but what he does have is hunger and desire and an ability to be in the right place at the right time, and that's a knack that all good strikers should have. And I felt that, you know, George today, because I've always looked at him, I thought he hasn't got great pace, he's not physically strong, which is probably why he hasn't broke into the first team as yet, because you're going to need one or the other really if you're playing in the first team. Although what he did do was he didn't get pushed off the ball. You know, he showed good strength. One time he looked up the defender, they were both running for the ball, and he's absolutely shoulder to shoulder knocked him off, which I really liked. And this number 4 for Coventry was no shrinking violet. You know, he's a big beast. Moaned a little bit too much for my liking, but George pushed him off the ball. But his finish for the first goal, being at the back post and then getting it in, was good. And then obviously for the third goal, getting in front of his defender, and it's an excellent header to make it 3-0 at the time. And that's what you want to see from your striker. You know, good movement, a bit of strength, and ultimately putting the ball in the back of the net. And you can ask no more from George Alexander today, and I'll comfortably give him, for that reason, I'll give him an 8. And he is definitely one for the future. You know, if I could name just now Tienza, Mitchell, Alexander, I can see have a future in the first team without a doubt. And that's not knocking any of the other players, because I think some of them certainly could break through. But I think they're the 3 that are closest and that would make a difference if they got an opportunity. Mitchell could do it now without a doubt. I'd have Mitchell on the bench. I've said that previously, but I'd have Mitchell on the bench now. And if Leonard has picked up an injury, that could be his opportunity to break through. And I really think that Billy could do that. I'm not so sure about George Alexander and Tienza yet. I think they've still got a little bit of development to go. But overall, you know, like I said, I really enjoyed that as watching the game. It's nice to know that our team want to play football. Our team want to work. I thought they worked for each other today. And like I said, you look at the Coventry side, who they got really frustrated. You know, they've come into that game unbeaten, and they lost their heads a little bit. You know, the coach was moaning about everything. It's a Millwall team that get under your nerves, and that's something that I really liked. But that's all I've got to say. Put your comments. I know some of you watched it on YouTube. This is not going to be a very well watched video, I do know that, but that's my opinion on our youth. And our youth looks pretty damn good, and I'm really happy with watching us win 4-1 against a decent side, and we played some decent football.